Hey everyone, it's Ryan from Grey Owl Design. In today's video, I'm going to give everybody an inside look at what happens at a minor variance hearing. So what is a minor variance? Well, a minor variance is a small change to the city's applicable zoning bylaw. So for example, say you wanted to build a house 11 meters tall and the zoning bylaw only allows you to build 10 meters tall. So what you'd have to do is apply for a minor variance in order to be able to build that extra meter. When developing a multi-family project of 5 units or more, there are many steps involved. This graphic gives you an idea of just of the portion of the steps involved, and what I will be sharing with you shortly are some of the clips from an actual minor variance hearing, also known as a public meeting, that we had for one of our upcoming developments. And then what you see here is this image is a rendering of the project. It's changed a bit, but it gives you an idea of what the development will look like when it's complete. So what follows will be a series of clips that have been condensed, as the hearing was approximately 40 minutes. And you'll start hearing from the city planning staff. Then you'll hear from our planner that we hired for this project, followed by one of the committee members and one of the local neighbors who actually opposed the build.
Given the information in the planning staff report, planning staff recommend that application A03-22-PC be granted for the following reasons. One, it is minor in nature as the requested variance is considered reasonable and measured request. It is appropriate for the development of the site as the buildings will be located in a suitable location on the site. It is desirable and in compliance with the general intent and purpose of the zoning bylaw, as townhouse dwellings are permitted in the R4 zone and the majority of the requirements of the bylaw have been satisfied. 4, it is desirable and in compliance with the general intent and purpose of the official plan, as townhouse dwellings are permitted in the urban residential designation. And that concludes the correspondence for this application.
Thank you. If you can bring in the applicant or the agent for the applicant.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Jacob Dickey, and I'm here with my colleague Terrence Glover. We are from Urban and Mine Planning Consultants, and we're acting on behalf of the owner of 80 Nickel Street for the proposed minor variance application, which would result in the development of 2 new 7-unit block townhouse buildings on the subject land in place of the existing derelict vacant lot. In this presentation, I'm going to talk about the site context. I will talk about the policies and zoning regulations affecting the subject property. Afterwards, I'll introduce the design concept, the requested variances, and we'll finish off with questions and comments. Starting with the site context, the subject property is located within the East Village, which is a neighborhood that has experienced a higher rate of economic decline over the years when compared to other areas in the city. This is perceived by the large number of vacant and underutilized parcels, which in today's age has created new opportunities for intensification and redevelopment. The site itself is located on the north side of Nickel Street, which is classified as a collector commercial industrial road, which is also intended to act as one of the primary main streets within the community due to its mix of uses. Here we have a closer look at the subject property. The site has a total lot area of just over 1,000 square meters and a frontage of just under 35 meters. It is predominantly comprised of sod and asphalt. There are no structures or trees on the site, and as such, does not have the most attractive appearance from the public realm. Moving on, according to the city's zoning bylaw, the subject property is located within the R4, 4th density residential zone, which allows for higher density residential built forms, including townhouses and apartment buildings. As you can see, I know it's tight here on this map, Nickel Street has a higher percentage of R4 zone properties when compared to other areas in the East Village. And as such, it is anticipated to accommodate higher densities to help reshape the street as a vibrant corridor. And this is a reflection of the official plan policies, which also allows for higher density uses along the street. All of this makes the subject property an ideal location for intensification, given the planning permissions, its large size, and vacant use. And I'm sure many of you are already aware, but this building located next door is no longer. It's currently a vacant site. So here we have our design concept. Our intention is to eventually sever the lands into 2 separate lots, each one containing 1 3-story block townhouse with 7 units. There will be a total of 8 parking spaces for each lot, which exceeds the zoning bylaw parking requirements. Access to parking will be provided in the middle via a shared easement. Landscaping will surround the site. There will be decks in the rear yards. This is what the unit breakdown will look like. So the entrance to unit 1, 3, and 6 will be provided along the frontage of the site, thereby giving animation to the streetscape, while the entrance to the remaining 4 units will be provided from the interior courtyard on the side of the building. Upper level units will be accessed by way of the walk-ups, which will also function as balconies. The unit sizes will range between 51.5 and 77 square meters, or 554.3 square feet and 828 square feet, which helps to meet Port Colborne's growing demand for more affordable rental units. Here we have conceptual elevations. Again, conceptual, they're not finalized, but this is what the buildings could look like from the streetscape. The brick area in the middle here is meant to be a curtain wall that will hide views of the front stairs from the streetscape. There will also be 0.75 meter high landscape walls here, which will help to screen the garbage storage areas and the parking. Moving on to site statistics, the proposed development meets the lot area, lot frontage, building height, landscaping, and parking requirements. And in terms of the variances that are being requested for the proposed development, includes allowing garbage to be stored in the front yard, a reduction to the required setback for the rear decks, a reduced width for a 2-way driveway, reduced front, side, and rear yard setbacks, and a reduced width for the planting strip abutting the residential zone in the rear. These variances will help to facilitate a compact development that is more in line with the intensification objectives of the official plan and the provincial planning documents.
Questions, Angie?
Thank you very much. To the presenter, thank you so much for that presentation. It was actually very full of information for the people who are watching. Helpful for all of us to realize that this will be a great addition to the community. There's no question on that. And I would agree with everything you said, include all the variances. They may seem like quite a lot for some of the people watching, but most of that is what we see these on a regular basis. The only thing I do not agree with, and I really can't accept, is the garbage. That is a problem. 2 garbage bins sitting out on a street that people walk across all the time, considering that that you don't have a lot of space in there. It just doesn't sit well with me. There's odor. Unless you're using a special system that's going to lock down odor and that sort of thing, that would be very different. But the odor, the rodents that were mentioned by one of the commenters, and the general trashiness around a garbage site. They just do get that way. I can't really abide by that. Is there some way you can put those garbage bins somewhere else?
Good evening. Just before you get started, if you could just state your name and address for the record.
My name is Julie Barker, and I own a home at 170 Mitchell Street in Port Colborne. It's right around the corner. from the proposed building site.
Very good. The floor is yours.
Thank you. My concern, I have a number of concerns about the request for the minor variances. First of all, there's a number of committees throughout the world, the United Nations, that housing is a basic human right. And all over the world, they're looking at these micro apartments and small spaces. And they're second questioning them now because 550 square feet is average small. And that leads to a number of health risks, psychological risks, raising blood pressure, privacy issues. It can become domestic violence. There's just a number of issues that come with such small sizes. I understand that you try to get as many units into the square footage of the building, but housing shouldn't be a commodity like gold or crypto. The potential of health risks and crowding challenges might outweigh the benefits of affordable housing. And I heard Mr. Dickey mention affordable housing a number of times. And with that statement, it really is loaded. Everybody wants to bring in affordable housing for the virtue signaling, but higher density isn't always the right way to go. I just feel that all of that should be looked at. It is a privacy issue. It's the house on 170 Mitchell Street. It's a family environment. There's single dwelling homes. There's, we're beside a monstrosity that is derelict and empty right now. But it's not in keeping with the neighborhood. It would be totally stand out. And I think that, from a neighborhood, the garbage, what about where will the recycling go? Are these bins and recycling, are they encased in a wooden structure, or are the bins just left out in the open? Can I ask questions through the chair?
Yes, you can, but just keep going through for your 10 minutes, and then we'll come back to the end and try to address all your questions.
Oh, okay.
Thank you. I will get to your one point about the garbage storage. I will pass that to the applicant for comment. I will say, though, that with regards to what we're hearing tonight, has nothing to do with the size of the units. So we're just talking about some setbacks around the periphery of the building. All other elements of this building, and in the original presentation, this could have been a 5-story building, if I heard correctly in the presentation. So as far as the size of the units, that is not up for discussion with this committee. It's not in our purview to even go there in this particular case. Those comments don't even need to be addressed because they're not applicable at this particular juncture. But you did have a comment about the type of storage for garbage as well as recycling, and whether it'd be in a penned-in area. Maybe the applicant can comment on that.
Very good. With respect to application, I think I have the right one here. Is this AO 322?
Correct.
Yes. In the matter of the lands legally known as lots 20, 21, 22, 23, and part lot 24 on plan 857, municipally known as 80 Nickel Street, spelled right there. The minor variance application AO 322 PC be granted for the following reasons. Minor in nature, the requested variances are considered reasonable and measured requests. 2, appropriate for the development of the site as the building will be located in a suitable location on the site. 3, desirable in compliance with the general intent and purpose of the zoning bylaw, as townhouse dwellings are permitted in the R4 zone, and the majority of the requirements of the bylaw have been satisfied. 4, desirable in compliance with the general intent purpose of the official plan, as townhouse dwellings are permitted in the urban residential designation.
Thank you. Seconder? Angie? So with that, if there's no other questions or comments, all those in favor? That'll be carried. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a great night.
So there you have it. We've received approval for our minor variance, and now we're going to be on to the next stage of the development, which is getting site plan approval.